overqualified. Well, on that then, Biggs, give us an insight, give us some knowledge then, because on this podcast, there's one of the two on here. I know there's four if you include producer Rob. Just say that Wales can't do it every single time. So give us some knowledge and give us an insight into a kind of snapshot of where Wales are, because the obvious statement is they're a young team, they're a team in transition. You're not there, Alan Wynne-Jones isn't there, Tipperick's not there as well. So superstars gone by, and therefore you're not going to do that well this Six Nations. I always have Wales as a team, unfortunately, just from the outside looking in, which is crazy considering the amount of times I've lost to Wales, only beat them once in 2007, hell of a ding-dong. We don't do that well against Wales. We've got you first up, but give us an idea, give the listeners an idea of the makeup of the squad and whether or not you will be any good this Six Nations.
I think it's going to be very, very different this year because I suppose there's been a group of us for 10, 12 years who've kind of pretty much come to an end now. And it is very much, and I think a Six Nations after a World Cup tends to be not a free hit by any stretch, but there's probably a tiny bit less pressure on the coaches or the teams because you are at the start of perhaps a new cycle. But I think from the makeup of the Welsh team, there's lots of young players. And again, it's common knowledge and everybody knows that perhaps the Welsh regions aren't performing as well as they'd like. And there's lots of doom and gloom in Wales. But what it has given is lots and lots of opportunities for young players to have played, which perhaps if things were all hunky-dory and the teams were winning and bringing in foreigners and filling those spaces, they wouldn't have that opportunity. So you've got your guys like your Cam Wimmet, your Alex Manns, your Mackenzie Martins, your guys like that, who have just looked like they're absolutely relishing the chance to play for their clubs and play for their country. So do I think Wales can win the tournament? I'm not so sure.
Here we go. Here's the headline, Biggs. Come on, then.
Yeah, I think the winner. I do think the winner will come between the game on Friday night. I think France and Ireland are a little bit stronger than every other team in that tournament, and I think that showed during the World Cup. Even though they both went out of the quarterfinals.
Mate, third best team in the world here. England are third best team in the world, Biggs. What's going on?
Mental.
I think, to be honest, this is coming from someone who also lost in a quarterfinal of the World Cup. The teams in that top half of the draw were by some distance better than the teams in the bottom half of the draw in terms of our side of the draw, and there's no doubt about that. So I think the winner comes from the game on Friday night, if you want my honest opinion. But I think Wales, again, Jim, I listened to a pod that Gats did this week. I think it was maybe from the Six Nations launch, and he sort of said this is almost where Wales prefer to be and love to be. You know, everyone counting them out, everyone writing them off. Cardiff, you know, Scotland haven't won in Cardiff for, was it nearly 20 years, over 20 years?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. We've been close, not been crap, but yeah, it's been a while.
So what I've said, so what I mean, like, Gats is the type of coach and person and personality who will love this type of feel, and he'll get the players thriving off that. So I think the game, I think it's a really good start for Wales in terms of the game at first up against Scotland and Cardiff. So if they can win that, they gain some confidence going into the next one. But conversely, if you lose that, then you're looking at 2 trips to Dublin, to Twickenham and to Dublin, which obviously looks a lot tougher off the back of a home defeat. So the squad is young. The front five is very inexperienced. And I think Gats has come out on record and said that we're basically looking at some of these players to create some more depth and create some more opportunities for players. So I do think that this tournament will be a little bit too far for Wales to win, but you know, stranger things have happened. And I do think the winner comes from the game on Friday night down in Marseille.
And just talking about the Welsh squad then, we know you've been part of Warren Gatland's teams for years and years and years, and the Warren Ball way to play. I look at the back line. The back line's very experienced still, isn't it? Apart from at 10 where you've vacated the jersey. You've got George North, Tompkins in the centres. On the wings, you've got star players there as well. So the back line looks good. How do you expect Gats to play with, when he's openly said the tight five is going to be a weakness pretty much for them, because no scrum, no set piece, no line out, it's very difficult to play even with Warren Ball, right? So I'm intrigued to know what you think the evolution of the team is going to be.
Well, I think they you always play to your strengths, and I'm a firm believer that it doesn't matter what your strengths are, you play to them, whether that's attractive on the eye or not attractive on the eye. And for us, for 10 years, we basically wanted other teams to have the ball effectively with our defence and our physicality, and our kick chase pressure and things like that. This team probably, this Six Nations is probably going to have to move the ball a little bit more. It's going to have to keep the play fairly fluid, keep it fairly, look to, because if you go head to head or pound for pound with a France or an Ireland, probably at the minute, then probably you're going to come off second best. But if you can manipulate teams around, if you can move the ball, as Warren will always back themselves with a Warren Gatland based team, the fitness and the ability to work hard and grow a bit taller when you wear a Welsh jersey, I do believe that they will cause teams problems, because that back division has got some serious talent. And the back division isn't a huge amount. There's not a massive amount of change, really. No. 10 and 15 probably are the two changes. So if that front five and if that forward pack can supply enough ball, I've got absolutely no doubt that the way that the back division can attack in terms of the pace, the power, the X factor that they have, they can cause problems. But like you said, Goodey, if you don't get enough front ball, it doesn't matter who you got at 9, 10, 15, 13. They're just going to get starved, and the game's going to get turned into a slugfest. And generally, the heavier and bigger teams with big guys to come off the bench. You look at like France and Ireland, who they've got to come off the bench in Monsters, that front five department. And it's a big reason why probably South Africa won the World Cup, is just that what they can bring on after 45, 50, 60 minutes is as good as anything on the field, and that started the game. So for me, I think there's absolutely no doubt that the game's going to have to be moved around the pitch, and not, I suppose, not a traditional Welsh type of style, if that makes sense. What you've probably been used to for the last 10 or 12 years. I think they'll probably have to deviate a little bit from that and use the strengths and that back division have got, and just be able to supply them enough ball.
Who's starting at 10 and who's starting at fullback then, Biggs, if it's you? They're the two you mentioned.
For me, Sam Costello definitely starts at 10. I think he's got huge amount of talent. I know that he's had a little bit of a frustrating time since the World Cup with some injuries and not a huge amount of game time, but he's got a really old head on young shoulders. Leads the team really well. I was really impressed with him during the World Cup, how he stood up in front of the group and led meetings and led things on attack. So I think, and he's as brave as anything. That's the one thing as well. I think he's got all the aspects of an international 10. Brave, good in defence, and so I think he'll play 10. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he makes the team his and how he wants the team to play, rather than just being told, this is how we want you to play, go and play for Wales. Does that make sense, Goodey and Jim, in terms of, I don't want him just to go and play for Wales. I want him to go and play and make the team his, and transform his form and how he wants the team to play. So I'm really excited for him. I think he's got a huge future. And I think at 15 is the difficult one, because probably what Warren would have done is probably played Louis Rees-Zammit at 15.
Yeah.
And to have that X factor and to have that out and out gas and I suppose experience as well to play. But I've got a feeling that they really, the management and the coaches really like Rio Dyer, and I think he's shown a huge amount in the last few years since making his debut. So I think him and Mason Grady will play on the wings, and I think maybe they'll move Josh Adams to 15, and so that they get their best players on the pitch come Saturday afternoon.
I'll tell you what, if I knew all this, Biggs, what I know now on Wales and the inside about not wanting the ball and losing every line out, I'm literally laughing at Alan Wynne-Jones. I'm going up, stealing ball, thinking, mate, I've done you like a kipper. All along, that was the plan. They didn't want the ball, ever.
He's laughing at
me, thinking, yeah, we've got you we have got you where we want you, because we're going to smash the living life out of you. But it's... yeah, I will never write a Welsh team off again. I said that, Andrew, I have said that. I said that at the World Cup. I said 2019, Biggs, when you were there. That was the turning point for me, which is 4 years ago, to think about is mental, when you limped into that semi-final, nearly beat South Africa. And I was like, right, I am never saying that Wales can't do it. I've just never said it. I'm never going to say it again.
I think Jim and Goodey, that's a huge strength of Gats's. I think we've got fabulously talented players. There's no doubt about it. Have we got the strength and depth of other countries? Probably not. But what we have got is fabulous players. And what they almost need is someone who's been there, done it, to fill them with confidence, so that when you put that Welsh jersey on, you believe that you're going to win, or you believe that you're going to be in the fight every single match you play. And that's one of Gats's, real strengths in terms of how he fills people with confidence, how he manages people, and not always, potentially by saying, he knows exactly how to manage individual players. So he'll know that if someone needs a bit of a boot up the arse, then that's the type of message he's going to get. If someone needs an arm around the shoulder, that's what you get as well. So I do think that that's a huge strength of Gats's as well. And secretly he'll be sort of loving all this negative talk around Wales over the last few weeks and the last few months since the World Cup. And he'll be sort of almost wishing that they can just go under the radar and come into that match on Saturday with everyone talking about how good Scotland are and that it's Scotland's match to lose type of thing.
There you go.
Gosh.
Well, Jim, Jim, Biggs has convinced me now that Wales are going to beat Scotland. Let's give the match a bit of a preview with your Scottish hat on. How are Scotland going to beat Wales?
I don't know how they're going to do it, because Biggs has just told us that, he told us historically that Wales don't want the ball. So I was going to be like, give them the ball, just kick them the ball the whole time. But if they are going to play this open style of rugby, mate, speaking frankly, and I feel like I'm being a bit negative on Scotland because I spoke about the co-captaincy, the two captains that they've got last week. But the pressure's on them. Like Biggs is saying that everyone's talking about Scotland and it's their game to lose. That is the tagline going in. That is what it is. Scotland should win this game. And again, you can't go based on paper or what the teams look like, but you can only go based on that, right? So if you go based on form in the World Cup, it wasn't great for Scotland, albeit in a tough pool. And I thought we played well in parts of the World Cup, but the one game we needed to win was against Ireland, and we got our pants pulled down. But in the other games, I thought we looked very good against South Africa, and in game one, I thought we looked brilliant as well. But this is a game now that if we don't beat Wales in Cardiff now, when are we going to do it? Like that's what you've got to ask yourself, because the profile of the team, Biggs.
I agree with that. I agree with that, Jim. I agree with that. Yeah, fully agree with that.
And also the form of the players. Like you think of the form, especially of the backline. The forwards is a bit different. That's the big question mark. And Wales are light up front. Yes, I get that. But we've seen Wales in years gone by, joking aside, but we've seen in years gone by that Wales don't need to win line-outs and they don't need to be dominant in scrums to win games and to win Grand Slams, right? That is 100% a fact. But I look at the Scotland backline and it's as good as it's ever been. And all the jokes around Finn Russell being messy, I was chatting to him this week. He doesn't know whether he's happy or sad about that, but he should be happy because he's on fire at the minute.
Just own it.
I think the way that he's playing, he will own it. Yeah, he will own it. But the back line is flying, who we've got. I mean, we've got Blair Kinghorn at 15, who's now playing at Toulouse. You've got Hugh Jones, who is on fire. Sione Tuipulotu as well. You've got Duan van der Merwe. I know Darcy Graham's not going to be fit for this one, but the back line's brilliant when you look at it like that. It's great. The big issue is going to come around the profile of the back row. Go on, Biggs.
I think there's no doubt Scotland go into that game as favourites, but I think there's too many people in that Wales coaching setup who've been around the block for too long to know that how to make it as uncomfortable as possible for Scotland come Saturday afternoon.
So what are you saying then?
I think we win. What
are you saying then, Biggs? Well, Jim's saying Scotland. Biggs, you back in Wales?
I've got to back Wales. I think first game. I think the record in Cardiff. I think it'll be tight, and I think Wales. I think probably Scotland have to be a little bit below par as well, because I don't remember 2 years ago when we beat Scotland just after Scotland beat England at Twickenham, and they came, or was it maybe at Murrayfield? Sorry,
it's Murrayfield, yeah.
And they came to us, and we turned the game into an absolute scrap. I mean, it helped that it rained all afternoon, and we must have left the roof open or whatever. But we just turned the game into a scrap, and I think that's that'll be the team talk from Gats on Saturday. I think Scotland have to be a little bit below par. But I think Wales have got a real sniff on Saturday, quietly confident.
So hard to call. Like, from my point of view, I want to say Scotland, of course I do. Like, I do want to say Scotland, but I'm going based on history. I'm not saying that Wales are going to win. I am going to back Scotland because I feel like I have to, just to balance the books on the pod. But this is a must-win game for us. It's a must-win game for Gregor. And everyone talks about momentum. Biggs, you'll know about momentum going forward, your first game, especially if you're at home. Scotland, if you're away, you get that one away win. And you know Scotland's two big games are at home. Or they're all big games, you know what I mean? But we've got England and France at home.
I think Jim, guys, as well, certainly the Friday night game, I think, is a must-win for both teams. Because I do think the winner will come from those two. I do believe that. So I think whoever wins Friday night is going to be in pole position, and I believe that Saturday's game with Wales and Scotland is a must win for both teams as well. Because, like you said, Jim, if Scotland don't win in Cardiff Saturday, then there's going to be serious questions asked from their point of view, and all of a sudden then they host France the week after, and if Wales don't win on the opening weekend, with that momentum factor going to London, going to Dublin, is going to be seriously hard off the back of an opening day defeat at home. So I think this opening weekend, I mean, it sets it up absolutely perfectly for the rest of the tournament.
What I'm hearing there from Biggs is whoever loses between Scotland and Wales is basically looking at the wooden spoon game against Italy later in the tournament.
Pod.
Rugby pod.